Pablo Escobar was killed over 20 years ago, but his infamous name continues to draw attention. This time, it is related to one of his safes found in his old estate in Maya Vivi. It is said that Pablo Escobar earned $420 million a week, and thousands of millions went missing. Finally, investigators managed to uncover one of his secret hideouts. A construction worker discovered a second safe hidden within the walls of a mansion in Miami, once owned by the late drug lord Pablo Escobar. Inside, they found not only money, but also weapons, ledgers, and evidence pointing to an empire that continues to haunt Colombia. A man behind the myth. Before safes and billions existed, there was a young man on the streets of Medellin, seeking power through the only way he knew: crime. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria started small, but even his first steps already demonstrated the ruthless ambition that would one day shake entire nations. In his teenage years, he stole gravestones from cemeteries, erasing names with sandblasting equipment before reselling them to unsuspecting buyers. Soon, it escalated to cars, extortion, and kidnappings. In 1971, businessman Diego Hechavarria was kidnapped and killed, bringing the Escobar gang $50,000, but giving them something much more valuable: a reputation that spread like wildfire. Everything changed when cocaine came onto the scene. In 1976, Escobar was arrested with 39 kilograms of drugs hidden in a tire. He bribed his way out of prison, and the officer who arrested him did not live to tell the tale. From this moment, his empire grew under the brutal motto, money or lead. By the end of the decade, Escobar was no longer just a drug dealer. He was forming alliances, bribing politicians, and building an empire that would flood the United States with cocaine. In just a few years, he controlled up to 80% of the world's supply. But what few understood at the time, and investigators discovered much later, was that Escobar was accumulating not only wealth. He was already hiding money, weapons, and secrets buried in the walls, concealed under fields, sealed in safes. It is in these storages that his myth begins. An empire built on abundance. As soon as the money started flowing in, Escobar transformed the world around him into something almost unreal. At the height of his power, his cartel earned about $420 million every week. The problem was not making money, but how to manage it. In the hills of Antioquia, Escobar built Hacienda Nápoles, a huge estate that resembled a magical kingdom more than a drug lord's home. It occupied thousands of hectares and included artificial lakes, a colonial-style estate, and even life-size dinosaur statues towering over the territory. Exotic animals roamed freely, from elephants to giraffes, while hippos bred in rivers, becoming an invasive species that still causes problems in Colombia. It was a park of excess, but also a fortress designed to impress and instill fear. Escobar's wealth overflowed into every aspect of his life. He collected luxury cars, from a Porsche 911 once driven by Emerson Fittipaldi, to a Harley-Davidson that belonged to Frank Sinatra. Escobar built fortified mansions in Medellin, country retreats by the lake in Guatapé, and a private island in the Caribbean Sea. His wealth was so colossal that he once offered to pay off Colombia's entire foreign debt of $10 billion in exchange for protection from extradition. But behind the glamour of Hacienda Nápoles and its luxurious cars lay a darker truth. Escobar trusted no one, not even banks. Behind every villa he built were storage rooms, cells, and hidden caches buried underground, waiting to be discovered. This obsession with concealing wealth. Escobar's wealth was so immense that it was impossible to control. The cartel received cash faster than they could count, launder, or store it. Every day, mountains of banknotes, bound with rubber bands, cost the organization thousands of dollars a month. It was wealth on such a scale that it couldn't be accounted for in any bookkeeping, and it was too dangerous to trust third parties. Banks were never an option. Escobar feared paper trails, exposure, and above all, betrayal. Instead, he turned Colombia into a secret map of hideouts. Disguised as safety houses, the warehouses were filled with walls packed with dollars from floor to ceiling. Farms throughout the region hid barrels of money buried in the ground. In Medellin, contractors were pouring cement into sealed compartments, burying fortunes behind walls that no one was meant to touch. This paranoia had its price. His brother Roberto later confessed that almost 10% of the cartel's wealth, over $2 billion a year, was lost due to rot, water damage, and even rats gnawing at bundles of money. Nevertheless, the losses hardly mattered. There was always more to hide and another storage to fill. This scheme of hiding, burying, sealing gave rise to the legend. For every storage discovered by investigators, there were rumors of others hidden beneath concrete or buried in the ground, holding secrets yet to be revealed. Recorded findings. For many years after Escobar's death, Colombia seemed haunted by what he had left behind. Peasants working their fields, construction crews building walls, and police inspecting rivers occasionally stumbled upon hideouts, confirming that the legend was not entirely fantasy. Each discovery revealed fragments of treasure scattered across the land, strengthening the belief that even greater secrets lay hidden beneath the earth. In 1988, authorities discovered an estate near Medellin and unearthed $20 million in cash sealed in containers. The banknotes were soaked in water, but the find vividly demonstrated how easily Escobar hid in the ground, an amount equivalent to the budget of a small country. Decades later, in 2015, police divers followed the trail to a submerged quarry on the outskirts of Medellin. $18 million in American bills remained untouched in the mud, sealed in plastic packages. It was a grim reminder that his storages were not just rumors, but reality. The search continued. In 2019, a team renovating one of Escobar's old apartments in Medellin discovered $27 million hidden behind a damaged partition. The money was in poor condition, but undeniably real. In the year 2020, Escobar's nephew, Nicolas, claimed that a vision led him to hide in one of his uncle's houses. Under the floor, he said he dug up bundles of money, a typewriter, a golden pen, and even a satellite phone. Most of the money was ruined to the point of being useless scraps, but the discovery reignited global interest. Perhaps the most intriguing case occurred far from Colombia, in Miami Beach. In 2016, when the old Escobar estate was demolished, workers found safes embedded in the foundation. One disappeared before investigators could inspect it, sparking rumors of theft. The other was transported under guard to a bank, and its contents were never revealed. Every discovery carried the same message. Despite all that was found, even more remained hidden, the darkest secrets in his vaults. When investigators opened Escobar's hidden chambers, they found much more than money. Some of the safes resembled arsenals, filled with boxes of Kalashnikov rifles, grenades, and anti-tank missiles. Thousands of cartridges were stored alongside stacks of dollars, turning these underground rooms into military caches, ready for a siege at any moment. Each safe reminded that the Escobar empire was protected not only by wealth, but also by overwhelming firepower. Even more dangerous than weapons were the ledgers. Written in neat handwriting and hidden in waterproof containers, they documented supplies, coded transactions, and lists of politicians, judges, and police officers who were bribed. These pages held more power than weapons, revealing the invisible threads of corruption that allowed Escobar's cartel to dominate Colombia. For investigators, these records were a rare glimpse into the mechanisms of an empire that seemed untouchable. Rumors suggested that not all safes were meant for storing money or documents. Some survivors described rooms with soundproof windows, holes in the floor, and hooks on the walls. It was said that these were interrogation chambers, intended for torture and the disappearance of people. Although the authorities never publicly confirmed these stories, the descriptions fully matched Escobar's reputation for using ruthless intimidation methods. The deeper investigators probed, the clearer it became that the safes were not merely hideouts. They were a continuation of Escobar's paranoia, created to protect his wealth, secrets, and life at any cost. Each hinted at a darker world he controlled, a world still shrouded in mystery. The cathedral, a prison that did not exist. By 1991, the situation with Escobar had reached a critical point. The threat of extradition to the U.S. forced him to negotiate with the Colombian government. He agreed to surrender, serve his sentence, and avoid extradition. But there was one unusual condition. He would build his own prison. On a fog-covered mountain overlooking Medellin, Escobar built the cathedral, which appeared to be a correctional facility from the outside. However, inside it was completely different, featuring a football field, a bar, a jacuzzi, and even a waterfall. The guards were chosen by Escobar himself, loyal only to him. The telescope on the balcony allowed him to watch his family home while talking to security on the phone. To the public, this place was nicknamed Escobar Hotel. But behind the luxury lay a deeper plan. Escape tunnels, hidden arsenals, and fortified passages turned the cathedral into both a fortress and a sanctuary. Later, investigators found evidence that the walls had vulnerabilities designed for quick escapes, and inside, weapons were stored in case of an attack. In 1992, when the government finally tried to transfer him to a real prison, Escobar simply slipped out through one of those hidden paths and vanished into the fog. The cathedral once again confirmed what his safes always revealed. For Escobar, hiding meant survival. Why does the myth of safes persist? More than 3 decades after Escobar's death, the story of his hidden safes continues to captivate the imagination. This is partly due to human nature. People are drawn to tales of buried treasures. The idea that unimaginable wealth may still lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. Each new find, whether a barrel of rotten banknotes or a safe in Miami, inspires the legend. But myth is also nourished by culture. Series like Narcos dramatize Escobar's empire in a cinematic style, blurring the line between reality and fiction. Sensational headlines and viral videos amplify every rumor, promising that the next safe will contain not only money, but also priceless artifacts, weapons, or too dangerous secrets to reveal. In the digital age, the safe has become less of a physical place and more a symbol of mystery itself. For Colombians, the legend carries even greater weight, embodying unfinished business, billions that have vanished, corruption that remains, and violence that has affected an entire generation. Until every dollar is accounted for, the safes will remain both a metaphor and a mystery. This is proof that the shadow of Escobar never completely disappeared. Pablo Escobar is no longer with us, but his safes continue to exist, silent graves of wealth, weapons, and secrets. Some are already open, others still sleep beneath Colombian soil, and until the last lock mechanism is broken, the shadow of his empire will never completely disappear.